Hi everyone, it's Stefania here from Rise Up of Your Limits. And first and foremost, happy 2022 to you all. I really wish you from my heart this year to be a year of abundance, prosperity, freedom, but also growth and transformation. I work as an empowerment coach. And my biggest passion, my biggest expertise is to connect my clients with their authenticity. From that place, they can finally access the life they have always wanted. So today, as I was thinking about my next video to upload on YouTube, it came automatically the connection that this moment of the year, it's exactly the moment to write down our New Year's resolutions, to set up our new plans, our new strategies to achieve our goals and desires. Unfortunately, we all know how the enthusiasm and the motivation and the energy is super high as we start at the beginning of the year in January, and then sometimes 3-4 weeks later, or maybe a couple of months later, we tend to give up. Our initial plans tend to fail. And that, of course, it adds to the original frustration that sometimes is the reason why we want to achieve these goals and these desires. So let's take an example. Let's use this example of losing body weight. We have all been there. I've been there myself, in a moment where I look at myself in the mirror, I don't like what I see, and I just want to lose weight because that extra weight affects my identity, affects how I perceive myself. So I use a specific word over here, even though I just talk about body weight. That, by the way, can be a very important and delicate topic for many people, but sometimes we tend to think about body weight. We don't think about identity. But I want to bring the two together because to me, when it comes to New Year's resolutions, it comes to us. It comes to the deep and rooted set of beliefs that we hold on to, that talk about ourselves, that talk about our presence into this world. So until we don't awaken and we don't let surface these beliefs to really understand what's a real narrative that is preventing us from achieving our goals, we could never understand why our plans, above all our New Year's plans, tend to fail. And there seems to be no chance for us to accomplish what we truly desire. I like to create a continuum among my videos. So if you had a chance to watch my last videos before this one, I talked about how to release our past, how to overcome past traumas, and also how to understand when a trauma has not been processed yet. And when this happens, you may notice the presence of strong and high emotional states in your life that can, of course, be caused by anger, anxiety, depression, frustration, you name it. So sometimes when we set new goals, we really, really, really need to understand what is my emotional source as I set these new goals in my life. Because I'm setting the new goal to lose extra body weight because I feel depressed when I look at myself, you always need to realize that you are going to get out there the exact currency that you are exchanging with yourself. So if you don't like yourself and you despise your extra body weight, what is going to happen is that in the process of trying to lose weight, you're not going to like yourself. You're going to despise yourself. And maybe sooner or later, you're going to give up. You're going to give up on your original plan because you can't bear yourself doing something that you don't like or you don't see the results. So what I'm trying to explain over here, that it doesn't matter, unfortunately, how high, how motivating and how nurturing sometimes new goals feel, to improve our life and just to make it better, to reach that tiny, tiny, tiny bit of happiness that we so desperately need just to feel a little bit better about ourselves. But unfortunately, we cannot access on the outside something that is first and foremost missing in the inside. So with this video, I thought, and you will already, realize that I move my hands a lot. So if the video comes a little bit shaky with my voice trembling because I shake the microphone, please stay with me. That's just my, sweet Italian way to be extremely spontaneous when I talk. So kidding aside, what I was trying to say over here is that whenever we set new plans for our future, but our internal engine has been charged with strong negative emotional states, that energy is strictly linked, strictly intertwined with negative beliefs, depleting beliefs that establish a dialogue with our reality. If there is anger, if there is anxiety, if there is depression running into your life, I've suffered from depression myself, so I can tell you for sure how draining, how debilitating it is when we are in that dark bubble and there's no chance for us to get out. So when we set goals on the outside to access the little bit of comfort that we're not able to give ourselves, you already realize that we are part of an equation. Our relationships with ourselves and our relationship with the rest of the world. If the first relationship is not consistent, we are going to get inconsistency, on the outside, whatever our goal is. If we're not able to find peace and acceptance for our strong emotional states, chances are that we're not going to find comfort and relief by accomplishing goals. We won't be accomplishing goals. It's almost like, if you allow me this word, a self-fulfillment prophecy. So the currency you exchange within yourself, and with this, I mean the type of energy that you feel about yourself, is going to affect the outcome of your decision, of your situations on the outside. And this is for me tremendously important, because whenever we try desperately to achieve something new and empowering in our life and we fail, we definitely think there's something wrong with us, that we will never be able to make it, or we are a failure, or that goal simply is not for us. Others can make it, but for us, there's no chance. In reality, it is not like that. It's like before stepping into a strategy towards that goal, we need to be aware of the forces that are playing against us within ourselves. And to stop those forces playing against us, we need to befriend them. I know it can sound outrageous at times, but we need to sit down with our depression. We need to sit down with our anger, and we need to sit down with our anxiety and ask them, why are they there? Are they just a problem? Are they just a limit? Or was maybe a resource from the past that turned into a problem now, but in the past, that was a resource? In order to understand that, as I mentioned in my previous video, Release Your Past, you need to understand the biology linked to our psychology. When we are under trauma, and from those traumas, anger, depression, anxiety, fear can stem very vigorously. Sorry. What happens is that the trauma is in the past. We maybe even forget what the trauma is all about, but those emotions keep on being the lenses through which we filter our reality. An emotion is just the top of an iceberg. Every time I'm angry at something, I'm declaring within myself that something is too strong for me. I need to scream and shout to defend myself. Otherwise, I'm in danger. Every time I'm anxious, I'm telling my reality, I need to sort things out very quickly, because otherwise I'm going to get suffocated by all the things I need to do, I need to accomplish. So every time we feel an emotion and we act upon that emotion, sometimes even without realizing, that is why I believe self-awareness is the first key to empowerment. If we manage to be aware of those emotional states, what we can do is say, stop. Let's create a buffer in space and time before I react. If I act now, what are my emotions forcing me to accomplish? If I'm not strong enough, if I'm powerless, if I need to scream and shout, I'm going to fail out there. I'm going to declare exactly what my emotions are telling me to say. I'm not strong enough. I am powerless. I'm helpless. I'm hopeless. Now, even though I said to befriend your emotions, I don't mean deny them, push them away, or pretending that is all good, that they are positive sources of energy and we need to pretend that we are close to our, happy ending in life. No, I don't mean that. I know depression, anxiety, and fear can be corrosive forces that can deplete us, can make us sick, but only and only if we act upon them, only and only if we fight them, if we enter in a war with them. Our emotions after traumas become stored in the body for reasons of safety and survival. So the mind is the 5% of our engine, the body is the 95% for, of course, biological reasons. So try to imagine a war that we establish with the mind, our 5% against our 95%. And imagine this when you write down your New Year's resolution. Imagine you want, with all your 5%, to lose your extra body weight, but your body stores that you hate yourself, you despise yourself, you're never gonna make it. And then you establish that goal exactly for that reason, because of course, generally you want to feel good about yourself, but you can't feel good until that inner conflict has been resolved. So for me in this video, it's just to let you know that the only way to resolve that conflict is to sit down first. And by sitting down with strong emotional states, my first suggestion would be just sit down and try to find a way to meditate. I found on my personal journey that when I embarked on my personal therapy and I experienced emotional freedom techniques, that was my way to sit down with strong emotional states. So I learned that every time I want to set a new resolution, a new goal, a new desire of mine, I need to understand the charge, the emotional charge that I store in the inside, because that emotional charge is response of a part of my narrative. And normally, if the emotion is negative, that storytelling is saying something negative about me in this world, that I'm not able to do or achieve something. And automatically, it doesn't matter how willing I am to make it happen, I'm going to work really hard, and chances anyway are that I'm not going to make it, because the 95% needs to reaffirm that. And when I'm saying that the 95% of mine needs to reaffirm that I'm not able to make it, it's because there is a traumatic experience that has not been resolved. So imagine that when the trauma happens and the subconscious suppresses it, then emotions become available because the trauma needs to be processed and released. But as humans, we're not very accustomed to do like that. Once the trauma is underneath our awareness, we tend to carry on with our life, to man up and get to do things, not realizing that before do things, we are being. That means that there is a to be state that we need to reach before being able to do and accomplish the things that we want. And our to be state, our being state is around the emotions that stem from traumas that we have not been processed yet. And until those emotions are not completely understood, integrated, what happens on one side, these emotions are like spirits from our past that needs to find a way to speak, need to find a way to establish a dialogue with us. So even though on the surface, they seem to sabotage all our attempts to make our life better, what they're trying to do, they're trying to express the pain that is frozen, the pain that is trapped. So anxiety is there because she needs a voice. Anger is there because she needs a voice. And depression is there because she needs a voice too. And once we find the courage to give these emotions a voice, that courage is self-love and self-acceptance and also self-awareness, in the understanding that until we don't give them a voice, they are going to rule our life. So it looks like we don't have a choice, but we can't force ourselves to accept parts of who we are that we don't want there. That's why we need to find a source of self-love. We need to find an area in our life where we can feel gratitude, where we can feel good about who we are without feeling the need to change or transform anything. So when at the beginning of this video, I said the currency you exchange in the relationship within yourself is a currency that you're going to experience out in the world. This is why, because your identity is not set and defined once for all, but every emotion is like a shade of color of your personality. So it's your choice to give voice to what colors according to the goal that you want to achieve. If you want to achieve the loss of body weight, then of course you need to embrace within yourself colors of possibilities, colors of empowerment, colors of the goddess or the god that is within you and then is going to shine soon because of that loss of body weight. But in order for you to access the body weight, you need to feel the light already available within yourself, even though your body is not as perfect as you want it to be. So when the title of this video is Transform Your Limits into Resources, because it's far too easy to love who we are when we are perfect, when we are beautiful, when we are empowered. It takes far, far more love to sit down with our internal wounds, sit down with the vulnerable parts when we have been traumatized, when we have been victims of horrible traumas. But unfortunately, nobody else on this earth can do that healing part for us. If we want to accomplish those beautiful things that are on your New Year's resolution list, you need to find a way to make peace with those parts of your past. You need to understand that what happened in the past is in the past, but unfortunately, those negative beliefs are still operating because those emotions haven't finished to have a dialogue, to have a conversation with them. And you need to stay there in silence with your mind completely off and feel the meaning. Because once you can feel the meaning of being, I'm not good enough, there's something wrong with me, I will always be a victim, I will never be free from these past traumas, until we don't allow them to extinguish their power from within, they will always hold us slaves as we react upon these emotions over and over again. So if I'm angry, I send a text message. If I'm depressed, I stop everything and I get petrified. If I feel fear, I run away and I don't deal with the situation. And I agree with you, we have been victims in our past, have been a victim of narcissistic abuse, but our choice is always in the present moment. And when the negative emotion surfaces within yourself next time, don't push it away. Don't treat it like an enemy. Because if you're also sitting down in front of your New Year's resolution, you may want to know that negative emotions holds the seed, yes, probably of the problem first, but also holds the seed of the solution. You just need to find your own unique way to have a dialogue. And that's also what is our hero journey is about. It's about traveling from darkness to light And once you find your unique way to embark on that journey, on that hero journey from your darkness to your light, then you can become a source of empowerment, not only for yourself, but for other people stuck on the same beats, on the same journey. That's how I learned how to empower myself. And I learned that my biggest triggers and my biggest darkness, at first, they were my enemy. But once I learned how to establish a dialogue with them and learn how to treat them from the inside without feeling this need to react and set actions in the trying to avoid them, then there and in those specific moments, I could access my authenticity, my empowerment through my self-love towards the bits of myself that needed love more than anything else in my life. I learned how to be the biggest source of love for myself. And with this comes also another gift, not only the gift of managing strong emotions and, accepting yourself, and as a consequence, of course, accessing your goals, but it comes one of the biggest gifts I've ever got in my life, and that's integrity. When you reach that level of integrity, that it doesn't matter how strong the negative state, but you can befriend it, you can sit down with it, you can transform it from the inside, and you embark on your journey towards wholeness, you reach integrity. You know how to fulfill your own needs. And that's also, for me, independence. That's one component of authenticity, of finding your own way to deal with yourself in your own reality. That's the best way to create the reality of your dreams, to shape your identity in a way that can support your well-being and also your desires in the future. And by doing so, you're free of demanding others to do and being conditioned to be in a certain way so that you can be happy, and also free of the expectations that others have to fulfill in order for you to be full. So just from understanding negative emotions, these are all the gifts. So yes, for me, negative emotions can be limits, but once you can transform those limits into resources for yourself, your identity, your story, and your goals, everything, and I said, everything changes. So thank you so much for listening. It's been a pleasure to share my thoughts with you today. Again, I wish you a wonderful and inspiring 2022, and I'm going to speak to you very soon with these videos. I send you my love and a big, big hug to you all. Thank you so much.